Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, International Carl, doing another video for you. And I need to stop and thank everybody who's taken the time to comment on my channel, because I've just done a video and maybe I just timed it right because it coincides with the UK government and making an announcement on what they're going to do with the national insurance tax here in the UK. Now, I've always told you this is not a political channel, so I'm not going to get into that, but click here, wherever it is on your screen, maybe right there, to watch my video where I discuss where the UK health system is better than the United States healthcare system. And yes, it is still free. I don't care how many people in the comments try to tell me it's not. Because the fire department is free, the police department is free, and yes, you pay for the national health services here in the UK out of your taxes. So yes, it's free. I don't care how many times people tell me in the comments it ain't free. It's free. Now, to be all serious with you guys, right? I'm going to do in this video, because when you watch that other video, you'll see a lot of comments. People want me to explain the US health system versus the UK health system and really what you get. In this video, I'm going to break it down. I've taken time to talk to some of my close family friends and really break this down numbers wise in terms of tax and what you really get, okay? And I'm going to do it the first way here. I'm going to break down just in raw numbers, 100,000 versus 50,000. So 100,000 pounds, $100,000, 50,000 pounds, $50,000, and what your tax would be in each system. Now, before I get started, let me take the time here to break it down to you this way, that the United States tax system varies from state to state. You have federal taxes and you have state taxes, and they change depending on where you live. In the United Kingdom, you have two taxes. You have your income tax and you have your national insurance tax. Now, talking to me, I'm going to tell you the national insurance tax is just a fancy word for income tax. They've just wrapped it around and called it national insurance because all that money definitely doesn't go to your healthcare, but that's a political point. I'm not trying to get into that. What I'm trying to do is just show it to you, and I'll break it down. And I'm going to put some examples here on the screen. So if we're going to talk about 100,000 pounds in the United Kingdom, what is the tax burden? How much tax do you pay? So I've done the math. I've used the UK salary tax calculator, which should be on the screen right now. And 100,000 pounds means you will take home, I think it's 66.6 thousand pounds a year. Effectively, I'm going to use simple numbers here, effectively meaning that your tax is 33.3% is your effective tax rate, okay? But again, that means you also have health care. You can go to the doctor, go to a GP, go to the emergency room, get in an ambulance, and don't have to pay a single thing out of your pocket. And if you make 50,000 pounds, your effective tax rate with all that is about 25% is your effective tax. Now, what does that look like in the United States? So what does it look like if you make $100,000? And I'm going to give you this example from the state of Georgia using a very close relative of mine who's given me their numbers and what they have to pay. And if you make $100,000 in the state of Georgia, so if you made 100,000 pounds, $100,000 in the state of Georgia, a Republican state, your effective tax would be 28%. Sounds very low. 33.3 in the United Kingdom versus 28%. However, you're not taking into account the health insurance that you pay every month. So this person who's a loved one, I'm not going to say who they are in my life, but they're a very close relative to me, is they pay roughly $400 a month for health insurance. Well, that's about, I'm using simple numbers, that's about $5,000, which represents 5% of 100,000. So if you add that up, which is 28% plus 5%, well, that already takes you to 33% tax. But there's a trick into that. This relative of mine also has to pay up to $5,000. It's actually $5,600 before the insurance covers 100% of the bill. So get sick, go to the doctor, you gotta pay out of pocket. Get hit by a car, break a leg, you gotta pay out of pocket. Have a baby, you gotta pay out of pocket. And this is in the state of Georgia. So another roughly 5% has to be paid out of the 100,000. But this is actually coming from which is called a deductible, which is, I think, the best equivalent in the UK to make it simple for those that aren't used to American terms of deductible. It's like in your auto insurance that you have here. They'll say your excess, the first excess you have to pay. So if you take 28%, 5%, because that's roughly, $400 a month, and then you have to use that insurance, that's another 5%. We're already at 38% effective tax rate. And remember, you don't have to be great in math, but 38 is bigger than 33%, okay? And so that's what you're getting here in the UK. And another added benefit is the number one reason people file for bankruptcy in the United States. Not because they took out a credit card and couldn't pay. Not because they started a business and couldn't pay. Not because they fell behind on a car. Not because they fell behind on their house note or their mortgage. It's because they got sick and couldn't afford the medical bills that followed. That's the number one reason. Now, keeping the number simple from Georgia as again, if you make 100,000, again, that's 5% plus another 5%. That's effectively 10% of 100,000. So your taxes are low, 28%. But you got to add in an extra 10% just to have it and to use your health insurance. It gets even worse. If you make $50,000 in Georgia, your effective tax rate, which should be on the screen right now, 21%. You roughly pay 21% in the United States, in the state of Georgia. But what would you pay in the UK? You'd pay 25% in the UK. That's income tax, national insurance tax. But again, in the state of Georgia, you have to take into the fact that this person has to pay $5,000 a month just to have health insurance. Well, that represents a 10% burden. So your effective tax is not 21%. It's 31%, because $5,000 is 10% of 50,000. You haven't even used it. Now, if you want to use the health insurance, you got to pay $5,000. That's another 20%. So you really are at about 41% tax on $50,000 in the United States. Now, I'm from California, a different state, a Democrat state, a blue state, what you might think is a high tax state, right? That's what people think of blue states. Well, in my state, where I'm from, if you made $100,000, you're gonna pay 29% effective tax, okay? But if your same health insurance is about $5,000 a month, that's another 5%. You're already at 34%, already, just to have the insurance, if you have that same type of insurance. To use it, another 5%. And again, it's the same scenario with $50,000 in my state. Your effective tax rate in California on $50,000 is about 20%, a little less than 20%. But come on, we already broke it down. You have to add 20 more percent. So you're at like 40% tax on $50,000. This is for a single person living in these states. Things are very different in the United States because you get tax deductibles. The healthcare system changes from employer to employer. So the numbers could be different, but this is just the numbers that I've used off the internet that you can go look yourself. Now, the second way I'm going to break this down to you is I'm going to break down, well, 100,000 pounds isn't $100,000. 100,000 pounds is roughly $140,000. And 50,000 pounds is not $50,000. You know, it's about, give or take, 70,000, I think is the number, roughly 70,000. So let's look at apples to apples and compare it that way. I've actually done that. I've done the math. If you're living in the state of Georgia on $140,000, your effective tax rate as a single person is 30.5%. Remember, the UK, all your taxes is 33.5%. But let's say you have the same crap health insurance of 5%. Well, it's not 5%, but you have to pay $5,000. Well, that's about 3.5% of 140. So let's add that number in there. We're already at 34% tax, which is bigger than the UK. And if you have to use it, again, it gets worse. Add another 3.5%. So you're at 37.5%, maybe even 38% tax in the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia, a Republican state, a conservative state. So when I say that the system is better here in the UK, this is what I'm talking about. I look at it and I say, wow, I only have to pay 33.5% if I make 100,000 pounds. And I have insurance. I have the benefit, the peace of mind that no matter what happens to me, I'm not gonna go bankrupt. I'm not gonna get some crazy bill. That's what I'm talking about when I say that the system is better here in the UK. Now I know Boris Johnson and the Tories, the Conservative Party in the UK, just recently announced that they're gonna raise the national insurance tax by 1.25%. Well, geez, you guys have seen the numbers. I just told you this. You've seen it on the screen. And I'm not saying I'm pro-tax. I don't want my taxes going up. I don't want your taxes going up. This is not an endorsement of the 1.25% tax rise. Please don't walk away from it. I am not a political channel. I'm just trying to just kind of explain and go into more detail. You know, what the system really looks like. America has profit care. The United Kingdom and most other Western European countries have health care. You know, the system in America is designed so you don't go to the hospital or don't go to see your doctor because you have to pay every time you go see somebody. Where here in the UK, that's not a worry that you have. So I want to say thank you for tuning in. Hopefully this wasn't a long video. I wasn't ranting and raving, but I thought it was important to answer some of the questions that I've got in the comments, break down the difference in them, and if there's any more follow-up that you want, by all means, drop me a comment. I'm going to reply. I try to reply to almost all of them, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.